I'm producer Joey. You're listening to Headphones. This is a podcast made by musicians for musicians. So we're pretty much always going to be talking about music or something to do with music or someone who's musical. And in this case, today we're listening to a podcast that we recorded about a year ago with a young lady named Laura Stetman, a fantastic friend of mine from college who turned out to be a fantastic actress and a musician. And she's doing her thing on the screen nowadays and recording her own music and doing pretty well. So I sat down with her right around the beginning of the pandemic, and we had a little conversation about how things were going and how the pandemic gave us a chance to, for some people, to work on their craft a little bit, for better or worse. And but yeah, we just got to talk to Laura for a little bit. So this is a replay of last year's conversation. As we start our weekly podcast tradition here at Trigero. So thanks for listening. Again, I'm producer Joe. Next week we're going to have Pune Ganji, our international composer, replaying that conversation. So check in that and continue to check in. Me and Arjun may have another podcast coming out a few weeks from now. So there's a lot going on here that you could check out that I'd love you to check out. So check it out. And let's start with this interview. So here's Laura, and here's the interview as it was recorded last year.
I'm a singing, actress, voiceover person. Singing, actress, voiceover girl. I don't know. I do all three. So pretty much an all-around performer, minus the dance. You don't want to see my dancing. It's not the greatest. Acting is my favorite, but I do enjoy singing. It's just I've had probably more experience with acting and being on set. Singing, I've had that talent as well. I just never have pursued it in the way of making like a record or an album or anything like that. And then a whole bunch of different day jobs.
Wow. So has it always been in Florida though?
Yeah, just in Florida. I mean, I've like gone back to California like to fly out for roles and stuff. So I've been doing that too, but yeah.
But you don't want to live on the West Coast though.
No. Okay. So I don't want to live in California. I'm not a fan.
Deal. I agree with that.
I already lived there and I wasn't a fan. It's not my scene. I will gladly fly out there and be out there for months, okay, knowing that I'm gonna go like
right. I'll work and I'll leave. Yeah.
I'll work there. I don't want to live there. It's just that's why right when I like left and I went to Florida, I started booking roles that were for California.
Nice. Perfect.
I was like, awesome.
I totally agree. That's why I like living in Nashville. Nashville was never even on the map for me, but I just ended up here. And I grew up in Atlanta where it's always go. Everything's so fast.
Yeah.
I like it here. It's all slow paced, and now everyone's finding out about it. But it's nice. It's still country. It's still a small town.
I've been thinking about possibly like Tennessee. I don't want to do Atlanta if I don't have to. But Tennessee or Texas even.
Have you ever been to Texas?
But, yeah, I have. I like Texas.
Yeah, Texas is cool. I've only been to Dallas, but.
Oh yeah, I've been a couple places in Texas, and I liked both of them. I went to Austin, and that was really cool. And then it was more like a college town. And then the other part was Dallas. I was there, and then Houston. Houston was where I loved. I loved Houston. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, Houston was. Yeah, I liked it. And they have like that huge store, H-E-B. Oh my God, that's the biggest store I've ever seen in my life. I was like, holy fuck, how do you find anything?
That makes me happy that's what made you happy. That's that one detail.
Well, I remember it. I remember it exactly.
Because when I was younger, I was like you, and I had many talents. And so I played a lot of instruments, actually. And a lot of people were like, oh, you're going to be good in music one day. I guess a lot of people assume that I'd do that. But I just made a decision at one point in my life. I was like, I don't want to do it for a living. And so I guess that's the reason why I never got really super good at music. What was that for you? Was there ever a time where you decided, I like music, but it's for me, but it's not for everybody else?
Honestly, there was this time. So when I was in California, I actually was a lead vocalist for a trance band. So they did like electronica music. They basically made it or modeled it after bands in the UK. So they had like this great technology sound going on, and they created their own music essentially, but they just wanted a vocalist. So they found me in this singing class, and they were like, we love your voice. It's like so pure. And I was like, okay. So I went over there, and I basically auditioned and I sang for them. And then they were like, okay, we want you to write lyrics. So in the midst of me going to school, because I was going to college at the time too, junior college, I was trying to make time to also, write lyrics for these sounds and these tracks that they would send me, and they'd send me just blank tracks, just the music, and I could come up with, a few lyrics and everything. But electronic music is so different from pop and, like classical and country. It's just its own thing. And then you have your lead vocalist that comes in, but she only comes in a few times during the song to just basically, take people away, whisk them away on this whatever they're going through. And you think like, in a rave, you're going through a lot.
Yeah, no, I know what they're going through. I have an idea what they're going through.
You see? So like, so it pretty much was like that. So in the midst of like doing that, and then, being in school and everything, I also had an agent in LA, and I was auditioning. It was my first agent, so I was auditioning a lot, driving back and forth from
and
San
so you were how
Diego.
old? You were how old?
That was 18.
So you're pretty young here. So this was like electronica, like
Yes.
like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would commute from San Diego to LA for auditions, and also once I worked for Disneyland, also to Anaheim. Nice. So it was really crazy. I was like driving
that's all the way
the
up like the western, like California coast, almost halfway up it.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like, okay, well, I'm gonna listen to some rad music now, because it's gonna be a 2-hour drive there and probably a 2.5 hour, drive back on the 5.
And so you would get up in the morning, make that drive, go to work, and then you drive back home every day.
I was committed. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, pretty much every day. Obviously, not the weekends, like, because I didn't work.
Because his sister needs to be off. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But anyways, what happened is it got a little bit too much for me, because I'm like trying to make this audition in LA, and then my agent's calling me right when I get back to San Diego. Hey, you have an audition tomorrow. I literally had a suitcase in my car for like any role that I possibly got called for. I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. And then I'd stay with my grandma in Anaheim whenever I was up there, because I was like, okay, I cannot make the drive back for school in the morning, and I felt horrible, but I was like, I cannot do this. Like, I can't, like, I'm one person. And my acting was starting to really take off, and I had just gotten in Gary Spatz's The Playground acting school too. Okay, I kind of have to pick one right now, because I'm in school, I work, and I have auditions.
It really just turned out to be whatever caught on first. And so if music would have caught on, if the producer would have been like, hey, let's make 1 million copies of this, and they did it, that would have caught on first, and you'd have done that, or?
Yeah, pretty much. Even when they were going to be signed by like Snoop Dogg's manager, and I was like, I still can't. Like, it would have been amazing. So that's kind of like how I chose acting a little bit over singing.
Well, I think it worked out for you, for the better.
Yeah, definitely.
It worked out how it was supposed to. And so all that was before. So when we met, we were in college at Full Sail in Orlando. So how old were you when you were doing that?
Yeah. Okay. So that was before Full Sail, because let's see. I went to Full Sail in, was it 2011? I'm pretty sure that was 2011. I went to Full Sail.
I think I was there from 11 to 13.
Yep. Same here. Okay. And the whole reason I decided to go into like filmmaking and Full Sail was actually, it was a bit backwards. I was auditioning to be like a Disney face character, so a princess, or some kind of like face character at Disneyland, or possibly Disney Cruise Line, or possibly Disney World.
Interesting.
So I went through all of these auditions, and I finally got considered to be Tinkerbell, actually.
That's fucking
at
awesome.
Disney World. And my boyfriend at the time was not too happy about that. He was
What?
like, "So you'd be moving to Florida?" Yeah, because my boyfriend at the time was in California,
That
and
you
I was
make the
like,
fucking move, boy.
yeah, no, he was younger than me too, and he was not adventurous.
Jesus.
So yeah, no, that's a whole thing in itself. It was
Another thing
that.
to unpack another day, yeah.
So I found it for him.
Interesting.
And yeah, exactly. And then by the time I flew back to Anaheim and I got the call, because I had gotten it's funny how we're talking about corona in this day and age. There was swine flu back in those years. I got the swine flu.
No kidding.
So I was out for probably 3 weeks.
Jesus.
And because of that, I got points. Any Disney person listening to this will understand what points are. They suck. But basically, you get enough points, you get either fired or reprimanded. And basically, it's like, oh, you can't come in, you can't come in, you can't come in. Even though I had swine flu, they pointed me for every single day that I was out. And because of that, Disney World could not have me as Tinkerbell, and I cried my eyes out.
I'm about to cry for you.
I cried because I saved so much money to fly out there. I went to so many auditions. I even changed like my contacts too each time, like to different like eye colors. I was like, well, maybe I fit this character. Maybe it's I fit this character. And finally, it was when I went out and I went, I think, with like blue eyes. Yeah, so like blue contacts. And then I had practiced the dance because I've been to the auditions before over and over, and finally I got considered. And I was like, yes. So it was a huge victory for me, and
Totally,
saving
yeah.
but yeah, long story short, no, they couldn't have me. Too many points, couldn't transfer, couldn't do anything. Even if I told them, what if I quit Disney right now? Then would you hire me? Because then these points wouldn't matter. And they're like, actually, that would look worse. I was like, all right. And then they're like, have a magical day. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I'll bet that was a really important step, though. Like that kind of like, I guess, rejection.
I mean, I don't know. It definitely taught me that you can do anything you put your mind to, but you also have to kind of listen to the waves of the universe. Like if the universe does not want you somewhere, it's not gonna let you be somewhere. It's gonna be like, no. Or, it'll let you be that place. Like, Florida was the place definitely that I had to go to next, but it wasn't for Disney like how I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, and it's like you just said it when you said the universe thing. That's totally, because I have a story for you, okay? This is the reason I ended up staying in Nashville, okay? I was actually visiting here. The girl that I was dating in college lived here, but I didn't live with her. I lived in Georgia. And so I got a job to work on America's Got Talent and some ESPN gigs up here. And while I was staying at a hotel here, it was like 4 a.m. in the morning. And I don't know if you've ever stayed in a hotel, but whenever the fire alarm goes off, if ever the fire alarm goes off, it will go off between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning. And so it was January, so it's freezing cold in Nashville, like 20 degrees. And the fire alarm goes off. And so we all have to come out of our rooms. Yeah, I know, it sucked. It was so cold. Woke up. We all had to come out of our rooms and wait for it to get fixed. And the lady that was in the room next to me, long story short, happened to be a producer, and she was complaining, oh, I hope I get to bed soon. We got to shoot tomorrow. And so I was like, tell me about it. And so she's like, my camera operator's about to have this baby this week. And I'm like, do you need a camera operator? And she's like, yeah. And I said, well, I went to film school. I'm here working for ESPN. I can do a camera for you this week. And so,
oh my God.
Yeah, and so I still work for her. I've actually worked for her for years, for I think like 8 years now. About 6 or 7 years now. Yeah. And
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, just right place, right time. You know what I mean? I know it's freezing cold, and so yeah, lifelong friend.
That's what I love about life, though. It's so you think you have it all figured out, but you really don't. Yeah. Okay. So I definitely have my top 3.
Top 3 favorite musicians?
Yes.
Okay, let's take it one at a time. Who's number 3?
Okay, number 3 is Blink-182.
Throwback. Okay, so why Blink?
Yeah, but I love their songs. Don't judge me.
No, that's fucking great. I do too. I know a few of their songs on guitar. So.
Yes.
What's your favorite one?
I like All the Small Things. Or just Small Things, I guess.
That's a great one.
And I mean, Sum 41 is good too.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about all these people. Every
How
time
rude.
I remember when I was in middle school, I listened to that like punk music stuff and I loved it. But then I listened to it growing up when I grew up, and I was like, man, I was not that sad as a kid. Like
Yeah.
they're a little.
No, I mean, I dig them. I actually, it's cool with Blink 182. When I was going to vocal lessons in San Diego, I went to their vocal instructor. I saw their picture, and then they had like their signature, and I was like, oh, they've been here. They're like, no, 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 they trained here. I was like, oh, that's
Nice.
so cool.
Nice. So what's number 2 then?
Number 2 is the Chainsmokers.
Do you still crank this stuff? Do you still listen to Blink and Chainsmokers?
I have a Jeep. I mean, put my top down in the Jeep and blast all the small things.
I like
It's
the
awesome.
I guess in Florida you can do that year round. So.
Yeah, you can.
All right. So number 1,
Taylor Swift, I have to say.
T Swizzle, huh?
Yeah, T Swift. A lot of my songs are definitely modeled after her style. She's very visual with her lyrics, and then she's very like she can be edgy, but then she can also be like wholesome. So I just love. I really dig her music, and no song sounds similar to another song. Like just the whole track, everything is different.
I'm a little bit of a Taylor Swift fangirl. I'm not gonna lie.
I like her music, especially too to see how she's translated. Through all these years.
Yeah.
She's translated from like just that country girl to this like pop sensation. She has so much range as far as
that's
a musician goes.
And that's what people don't get about musicians. Like, oh, they've changed, they've sold out. Now they've evolved. Because if they did every album the same way as the first one you liked, then you wouldn't like them anymore. They'd be Nickelback.
I watched that documentary on her too. The one that's on Netflix, and
yes, I love it.
I think it was Americana or something.
I'm
Miss
not
Americana.
sure what it's called, but it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure it was Miss Americana. But yeah, no, I loved it. I loved it because it showed a huge different side to her. She's always been writing her own lyrics, and she's always been into her own thing, and she doesn't let anybody in the music industry really tell her how it's going to be, because she just sticks to her lyrics.
Because she's Taylor fucking Swift, and they can get in line.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Play an instrument, what would it be? Any instrument?
Guitar.
Yeah,
Guitar, 100%.
Wow, you were really sure on that.
I wanted to play electric guitar actually, but my mom said when I was growing up, she's like, Laura, you're never gonna do it, so I'm not gonna get you one. You're never gonna play it. You're just gonna look at it and think it's pretty. I'm like, okay, Mom, that is not true. So she enrolled me in vocal lessons and she made me play piano. And as well as I do, probably as an artist, that when you're made to do something, you don't like it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not a fan of the piano. It's beautiful when people play it, but I hated playing it because my mom specifically was like, you're not playing guitar.
Yeah, and because it's super hard to learn. I could do chords, but I never learned to do 2 things with 2 hands. Like
I would love to play guitar.
Because it's really hard.
Yeah. I guess for right now I'll play Guitar Hero.
Well, hey, actually, you'd be surprised how much that does stretch your hand out. But you should have just told your mom, hey, Mom, we'll prove it then. Get it and let it sit in the corner. And when the first flake of dust grows on it, then you can sell it.
She would not have gone for that.
Yeah.
No, she just really wanted me to like become a better singer, which is why she wanted me to learn piano. Because when you do learn piano, I mean, you do learn to be a better singer because it's so on point with the keys and everything like that.
Totally.
But I just didn't like it. I can play Mary Had a Little Lamb and Chopsticks.
That's what matters. Those are the ones that really matter. So
totally.
So are you work? I guess you are back to work then, huh? Things are starting to open back up around where you are.
Yeah. Well, actually, things are starting to open back up. I just auditioned for. It was also a feature, and it's going to be shooting, I think, within the next 2 weeks. So they are opening up certain areas. But it kind of depends. Like in Florida right now, Universal is set to open, I think, on June 5th, with, the capacity being limited and everyone to wear masks and everything too. So still precautions, but at least they're open.
Right.
But then, places like Disney, they're not talking about opening until, end of June, possibly mid-July. So, but then you have some bars that have been opening, and then you have some restaurants that have been opening. Nothing is full on hey everyone, come on in here.
Right. And even if it
But
were, I don't know how many people would do that either. So okay, so like you say, you might be doing like a show in a couple weeks. So like, has the director or producers talked to you like, hey, this is the procedure we have now? That's like, what's changed on that? Like, that's got to be totally different now.
yeah, it definitely is different. I don't know because I haven't got, casted for the part, so I have no idea. But I do know with the other stuff that I have booked, post Corona, a lot of people are just kind of doing what they did when I had the audition yesterday, for the commercials. Like everyone sort of waits in their cars until it's their call time so they can come out of their cars.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, everyone is going to wear masks. They're going to go through a check-in, but you're going to go through a check-in just by yourself, like one by
And
one.
so, is that the procedure that the place sets up, or is that just how people are just doing it?
That's how people are doing it that I'm seeing so far.
But whenever you
Mhm.
get like to an audition or anything, it's not like a procedure where they say, "Hey, this is how you need to do this."
Um, they did send like this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna wait in your car until your call time,
Okay.
and once you see the other person come out of the building, then you can enter in the building. Some people are saying you have to wear masks. Some people are saying we don't care about that.
So
But
how do you feel
it's
about all that? Like, as like while you're waiting out there, waiting for an audition right now with
I
all this
mean,
going on.
well, it's kind of funny because in an audition, especially when you're waiting in the waiting room to be called, everyone's sort of a little looking at the other people anyways. So
Side
now
eyed.
it's like we're doing the same thing, but we're wearing masks and we're in our cars. So
Gotcha. Wow.
it's like still the same amount of awkwardness.
Yeah, just further apart.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's interesting. So that's crazy. Do you think any of that will stick around or anything? Do you think it'll translate into how we do things now?
I don't know. I do have to say though, it's kind of refreshing though to be able to do that because it's almost like it makes the process faster because they're dealing with one person at a time. And anytime you deal with just one thing at a time, generally that task gets done pretty quickly than
Interesting.
if you have to manage other people and you have to manage other things going on. You only have like this one person to worry about, or these two people to worry about. So honestly, I mean, I think it's a good system, for sure, but it's just interesting with the whole like you sanitize before you go in, you sanitize when you come out. You have to
Yeah.
sign out like the time usually when you leave the audition too. So yeah, I mean, I think part of it might stay. Like they're talking about having hand sanitizer stations just stay.
Hmm.
And I mean that wouldn't be a bad thing,
Not at all.
but I'm
Yeah.
not sure about the procedure.
I hope that we do because we have learned that we can do many things very quickly. We can scatter together resources very well, and we've become very logistically minded in that we think about all the steps that we take now when we do things. And that
Yeah,
was always the issue to me, where things are so rushed and so like, hurry, 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 do this stuff. And now it's just like, hey, well, this is the process that we have. It's got to go step by step because we have to now. I hope that sticks around.
but I think that like the friendships and relationships that have really happened during this trying time of like this social distancing. I mean, I hope that those stick because when
Definitely.
you're forced to like social distance, yet as humans we still need that communication.
Oh,
You
totally.
know,
And it really makes you learn what you do when you're truly bored.
yeah, that's something. Yeah, that's something that I thought about too. Is like it's forced people like who are lonely too to really find ways to cope and look at themselves, like do some soul searching.
Yeah,
You know,
it really is
um,
difficult. You said that was literally the question that I was about to say because when you started saying that a second ago, I was like, "Oh, good segue," but then you just kept going. I was like, "She segued. She did. What am I here for? I love it."
sorry.
No, you nailed it. So that makes me happy. So then this whole shutdown, I guess, gave you an opportunity to sit down and really focus on your music. Then.
Yeah, it really did. And not only focus on it, but it's it's awesome to have something that like you have your career and your thing that you're really good at, but it's also so great to have something else that you enjoy. Like if it was painting or if it was some sort of like I don't know, like little game or whatever. Like it's great to have other things to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you did when things reopened?
Honestly speaking.
Yeah.
I bought my boyfriend in England a ticket to come to America.
Nice.
That's what I did.
Nice.
Oh my god. That's just me, 100% as a person. I'm just awkward, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that made me fall in love with my girl. I remember we were both teaching in Miami, and uh, we had to make the kids go around this like handrail thing, but she tried to step over it and she almost fell. And it was just like the cutest like recovery where she's like, oh, nothing happened, and she just rolled with it. I just thought it was the most adorable thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, that gives hope to all of us awkward girls out there.
Oh yeah, there's somebody for you. Don't worry.
Mhm.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Yeah, okay, I'd have to go with like invisibility
Oh,
because there's something sneaky about people not knowing that you're there.
that's extremely sneaky. I think that's the definition
sneaky.
it might be.
You find out a lot about what's really going on. Also, I could prank the hell out of people
Oh,
at the
that would
last
make it.
minute, and that would be just fucking awesome.
Yes, that would make it totally worth it.
I just picture myself, with a superpower, almost like Harry Potter.
There you go.
But maybe I could just like snap, and then I'd be invisible. Like I wouldn't have to wear a cloak.
Have you seen that?
Because knowing me, I would trip on something, and that cloak would be right off.
That would be my issue. They'd see my feet. What are you watching on Netflix?
Well, currently I saw that the new season of Riverdale is on, so I was watching that literally before this interview.
So you're really, I couldn't get into that show. I tried.
I watch those shows, even if I'm not like, totally into the content. I watch it to see like, okay, the kinds of people that they cast and, the kind of angles and stuff and just, the different types of acting. I think it's really important to watch things like, especially if you never know, like, am I going to audition for that casting director,
Right.
and also they film, like, I think it's like Supergirl, Riverdale.
Oh, they do all of it. The 100, Supernatural.
Yeah, they do all of that. All of that is in Vancouver, and I
Yes.
actually have agents that want to represent me up there.
Yes, do it.
So that's exactly why I'm watching those kinds of.
Yeah. I love the CW too. I would love to write for one of those shows. Just because they do a really good job. They just do a really good job there.
Oh, you never know. I mean, I can actually tell you about something. I got a co-star part, and I swear, there was so much going wrong on that set.
Yeah.
Like from the wardrobe to the lighting to person not being on time to, the mic dying to like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much going on, and it's just you never know. People sit back and they watch the show, and they're like, wow, it was such a good show. They have no idea what it was like on set.
Oh
yeah.
That's how I feel like with Swamp Thing. That's everything I read about that show. The show was beautiful. It was perfect. And then just like the disastrous things you read about what happened on that set. I'm like, how did they finish 10 episodes? But
yeah, no, it's pretty incredible though. It makes you really appreciate it because when you see a final product, it looks all finished, it looks perfect. Yes, this is so good, but it makes you appreciate the process of it when you're actually like you read about either what went on or you experience either, like what went on. You appreciate it so much more because you're like, yeah, we're humans, we fuck up.
I mean, even more than that, not even just appreciating the skill of it, but appreciating the commitment by the storytellers and the creatives, because that shit does go wrong. Like, I remember with Unadopted, it was one of the most obstacled productions ever, but not even in the sense that like it was miserable. It was a big crew and a big cast, and it was a lot. And we were constantly solving problems, but that's the nature of the business. Like you make a plan A through Z, but you never go with any of those plans. You go with the one you make up on set. And
100%. Yeah, someone needs to quote you for that because that is 100%. That's also for actors too. People think like okay, it's gonna go just like how it did in rehearsal. Maybe not.
And we can't see ourselves doing anything else, can we?
It's crazy though, like, even though there's all these things that can go wrong, it's almost like it's the adventure of all of that that just drives you in, and I can tell you, I haven't been on one professional set where things did not go wrong. Every single set, there's some sort of challenge. There's some sort of issue, either with the equipment, with the people, with the scripts, or, with wardrobe, there's always some sort of issue. But it's how you kind of work around it that really determines how your crew and your cast are going to function as a whole.
Do it because you love it. We're gonna make mistakes. Make it right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I can take it. Well, it really was fun to talk to you, Laura. It's been a long time, a lot of years. In fact, I wouldn't even think that this is the first conversation we've had in that long. So, thanks for being
I
so
know,
pleasant.
it's crazy. It went by so fast.
I know, yeah, time flies when you're having fun. I guess we're just gonna have to do it again sometime. But yeah.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you wanted to shout out and say before we go, though?
Oh, yes. To my boyfriend in England, Steve. Hello, dear.
Hello, chap. Oh, there we go. I like that. That was really
I
sweet.
miss you.
There you go, Steve. Mrs.